let's talk about something that might seem like just another diplomatic trip on the surface, but could actually reshape global trade for years to come. We are talking about the US Vice President J.D. Vance's recent high-profile visit to India. While the headlines focused on his cultural appearances, like riding an elephant in Jaipur or his wife's Indian American heritage, there's way more going on beneath the surface. This visit wasn't just about handshakes and photo ops. It was about big business, shifting global alliances, and what could come next in the US-India-China triangle. And honestly, if you care about where your goods are made, where your country's economy is headed, or how power dynamics are shifting in the world, this one is for you. If you are enjoying this breakdown so far, give this video a like and share it with someone who'd find this just as fascinating. It really helps the channel grow. To understand why J.D. Vance went to India, we have to start with trade tensions. Earlier this year, the Trump administration slapped a 26% tariff on Indian goods. The official reason was trade imbalances. The US has been importing more from India than it exports, and the administration argues that India's protectionist policies have made it harder for American companies to sell there. India wasn't thrilled, as you might expect, but instead of retaliating right away, New Delhi got a 19-day reprieve, basically a short window to negotiate better terms before those tariffs become permanent. J.D. Vance's trip came right in the middle of that ticking clock. Now here's the thing, US-India trade hit about $190 billion last year, and both sides want to push that number up, possibly even to $500 billion by 2030. But that can't happen without ironing out issues like tariffs, access to markets, and energy cooperation. When Vance met Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, they weren't just talking about trade numbers. This was about the strategic positioning in a world where China looms large. Some of the key issues discussed included reducing non-tariff barriers. These are the hidden roadblocks that make it tough for US goods like ethanol, agricultural products, and even small nuclear reactors to enter the Indian market. Energy and defense cooperation. The US wants India to buy more of its oil, gas, and military tech. For India, diversifying its defense supplies is a smart hedge against relying too heavily on Russia or China. Technology and supply chains. Both countries are looking to build resilient, China-free supply chains, especially for semiconductors, electronics, and pharmaceuticals. What's clear is that this wasn't just a business meeting. It was about building a long-term alliance, and that alliance might just be key to reshaping the global economic order. While governments shake hands, farmers and unions back home in India aren't so enthusiastic. One of the biggest fears is that opening the market further to US imports, especially in areas like dairy, could crush local producers. Groups like All India Kisan Sabha, one of the country's largest farmers' unions, have already raised red flags. They are worried that cheap American imports could undercut Indian farmers who rely on government subsidies to survive. This could turn into a major political flashpoint for Modi, especially with elections always on the horizon. So while India might want to say yes to a deal, domestic resistance could make things complicated. What do you think? Should India open up more to US goods if it means stronger ties, or does it risk hurting its local industries too much? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. Let's zoom out for a second. Why is this visit so important on a global level? Because it's not just about US and India, it's also about China. As tensions with Beijing rise, Washington is looking to India as a counterweight in Asia. This isn't new, but Vance's visit takes it to another level. China has dominated global supply chains for decades, but now with rising labor costs, regulatory crackdowns, and diplomatic friction, companies and countries are looking for alternatives. India, with its massive workforce and growing infrastructure, is stepping up. But to really compete with China, it needs US backing, technology, capital, and access to American markets. J.D. Vance's message says, "We'll help, but only if we get something in return." This is why the US is pushing for lower Indian tariffs, faster reforms, and more open markets. In exchange, India could become a central hub for American investment and production. That's a win-win, especially if both sides can navigate the domestic backlash. Interestingly, Vance's visit had a personal angle too. His wife Usha Vance is of Indian origin, and the couple's connection to India wasn't lost on the public. The optics of the visit, elephant rides, temple visits, and cultural engagement were carefully planned to appeal to both Indian audiences and Indian Americans back home. In diplomacy, these gestures matter. They build trust, create media moments, and smooth over the rough edges of tough negotiations. So what happens next? The next few months are going to be critical. If a trade deal is signed, or even if meaningful progress is made, it could have ripple effects. Supply chain realignment. More companies might move operations to India, reducing dependence on China. Defense partnership growth. We could see India buying more American arms, drones, or missile defense systems, further aligning the two countries militarily. Visa and tech agreements. Immigration and tech collaboration are also on the table. H-1B visa issues, student exchanges, and tech investments could all see progress. But if talks stall, those 26% tariffs will go into full effect, and that could spark retaliation, sour relations, and create uncertainty in global markets. J.D. Vance's trip to India is about way more than trade. It's about two of the world's biggest democracies figuring out how to work together in a new world where China isn't the only game in town. This could be the beginning of a long-term alliance that changes how the global economy works, from where your phone is made to where your fuel comes from. And it's happening in real time right now. If you found this breakdown valuable, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.